Thank you all for attending this training session today. I would like to introduce myself first. I am Layal Ghaddar, a certified educational trainer, and I've been in the educational field since 2008. Today, I would like to present for you the training session, which is called the 5 E's Model Learning. I hope you will all participate. I would like to read your ideas, share together new methods, new ways in teaching this strategy inside our classrooms. So I'll start now to share the screen. Okay. So today, as I said, we're going to speak about the 5 E's for active learning, because 5 E's is one of the strategies that we can use in order to have an active learning inside our classrooms. So our objectives for today are the following. First of all, we're going to identify together the 5 E's. Second, we're going to explore engaging strategies. We're going to determine the benefits of the 5 E's, enhance student-centered approaches, and discuss implementation challenges. Of course, the target are the teachers, coordinators, educators. To introduce the 5 E's, first of all, the 5 E's are 5 essential elements and how they may be used to enhance an effective learning environment. The 5 E's are useful in this situation, especially in active learning, since it can make our class really integrated, interactive, and all the students are engaged in these phases or in the 5 E's model learning. To begin with, I want you now to imagine walking into a classroom where the atmosphere is filled with, I want you to write words, okay, that starts with letter E. So try to imagine that you are walking into a classroom, and please, I want you to write a word or words for describing the atmosphere of this classroom, starting with letter E. So I'm waiting for your answers. Okay, so we can use excited, we can use interested, engaged, we can use, okay, and many other words. What do 5E model learning stand for? So 5E model learning stand for 5 E's or 5 phases. These 5 phases should be applied in one session. We have the engage phase, explore, explain, elaborate, and the last phase is the evaluate phase. So I have here sentences, and I want you to guess which sentence is true and which sentence is false. I'll start to read each sentence. The 5E instructional model emphasizes a student-centered approach. So what do you think? Of course, 5E instructional model emphasizes a student-centered approach. The science teacher said that the 5 E's can't engage students in the class easily. So of course not. The 5 E's empowers the hands-on activities, which is totally true. The 5 E's satisfies the 4 learning styles, which is the most important part in the 5 E's to satisfy the 4 learning styles. We have to take into consideration that students have their own style in probably memorizing or probably understanding the content that you're going to explain. So we have to vary in different activities in order to satisfy their learning style. We have the visual, we have the auditory, we have reading, writing, and we have the kinesthetic. And the last sentence is the 5 E's were implemented in NASA. Of course, it's totally false. So here, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to prepare you to the content, which is, or to the training session, which is going to be about 5 E's. I'm trying to give you a short, okay, identification or definition of the 5 E's. So in this way, I started to engage you to the 5 E's in a way, trying to make an activity for you in order to guess what the content is going to be about, or to excite you, to attract you. Okay, so this is what we call by engage. This is the first phase that I'm speaking about today. When I hooks the students, grabs their attention, excites them, introduces them to the content, and attracts them by different activities, interactive questions, videos, whatever you want, games if you want. So in this way, students you have to start to prepare the student to the thing or to the content that you're going to start to explain it inside your classroom. And of course, you have to vary in the activities that you're going to do it in the class. So this phase is called engage phase. And I already here wrote for you different activities that we can use in order to use in the class as engage activities. We have the mystery questions, we have the games, as I said, charades, scavenger hunt, and show and tell. Such activities are really interactive. They engage all the students. They really feel excited to know what their lesson is about. And they really feel also more fun by starting their session. So today I want you, it's your turn to create your own hook activity satisfying the 4 learning styles. So please try your best to write your own learning style, okay? Your own, activity satisfying the 4 learning styles in engage phase. So as I said, we have to take into consideration the learning styles, which are the visual, okay, the students that can understand through seeing things like charts, videos, pictures, mind maps if you want. Auditory, the students that understand through listening. Students, reading and writing, students that likes to write, likes to read, analyze questions, summarize things. And the kinesthetic, the one who likes to move around, touch things, feel things. Especially such a learner, we can satisfy him or her by hand-on activities. So here, I have a video to share with you, okay? Just give me 1 minute to share it with you. Okay, yes, this is it. So please watch this video. It is about the student-centered approach, okay? And after that, we'll discuss this phase.
Hello and welcome to Teachings and Education, Student-Centered Learning. This is an instructional approach that places the focus on the students instead of the teacher. So let's begin with the overall goal of student-centered learning. Its mission is to create both independent and responsible learners for the future. Now, there are many positive benefits to using a student-centered classroom model. Research has shown that students learn how to express themselves and articulate their individual ideas. Teachers enjoy using this model because students are engaged in their work and on task. Students are constantly working, so that students utilize higher order thinking skills through the inquiry-based learning and problem-solving activities. Also, students get to work at their own pace. Remember, it's the students that drive the lesson, not the teacher. Overall, students learn skills that are transferable and will help them adapt to life in the 21st century workplace. Now, I'll ask, what does a student-centered classroom look like? As school administrators roam the room, They should see students working on assignments as the teacher facilitates. Students are allowed to explore their interests. You may see a student performing an experiment on one of their favorite chemistry topics. Students should be working together as a group and building upon each other's knowledge. Cooperative learning frequently takes place in the classroom. The student and teacher should be working hand in hand to achieve mutual learning goals. Here, it is really a partnership in learning between the teacher and the student. Examples of student work should be found in the classroom. Students' projects are placed around the room, posters are hung on the wall, writing samples are there as well. Students are comfortable using technology in the classroom. Technology is used to help students solve problems, just like in real-world situations. A student-centered classroom is not a quiet place. Students should be debating ideas with one another. Students are given a voice and feel empowered. Teachers do this by providing their students with choice in their assignments. Now, let's finish up with some tips for the classroom. First off, try to teach, quote, big ideas to your students. Allow the students to discover the details of these big ideas for themselves. Teachers should give students a chance to evaluate their own learning. Student reflections can be a part of a teacher's grading and assessments. Performance-based assessments and authentic assessments are also an integral component. These types of assessments are what we expect students to see in a real-world workplace environment. Teachers need to be constantly moving.
Okay, so after we have watched this video together, let me again stop here. So here it is, pure talking about the student-centered class. I may ask students to watch similar video according or related to their content. I may ask or divide the class into different groups and ask each student to be responsible to find out the goals of student-centered, for example, the benefits, the class shape, and the tips. So in this way, I'm trying to make the student explore to the content in watching the video and trying to explore the information related to what I have told them to pick out or to write out their ideas on a paper or whatever they want. So this phase is called explore. I'm speaking here about explore. Explore phase is the second phase in the 5 E's. First of all, we have to identify main keys of topics, activates enthusiastic participation, and encounters new information. As you see, the video mentioned different new information about student-centered. So we can do the same with our students. This is one of the strategies that you can use, or a way or an activity to apply this phase in your classroom. I've already also here provided different activities that also we can use during explore phase. We have the observation, data collection, just as we have done now. Site visits, we can ask students to visit sites and try to read about their content, try to write their main idea if you want. Field trips, outdoors, which is very important. And of course, the main important activity or way is the discussion. What are the effective strategies to encourage students to deepen their knowledge and make connections in the explore phase? When I want students to be deepen in their knowledge, what should I do as a teacher in my classroom to help them in getting this deep in their knowledge or in the content that I want them to explore? Of course, we have to encourage deeper knowledge by the following. First of all, the teacher should set clear goals, ask questions. Of course, the group discussion is very important. Joke connections, real life examples, which is also very beneficial for students to try to relate the content or what they are taking into their real life. And of course, spark curiosity. What do you think will the third phase be? What is the job of the teacher in this phase? So what's the phase here? It is explain. In this phase, the teacher's role here is 80%. Of course, you tell me this phase or this this model is student-centered. Yes, it is. But in this phase, just this phase, the teacher has to take into consideration that she has to confirm the students' responses. She has to clear or correct such ideas that the students shared, and to provide more information. She has to check on. She has to check understanding by questioning, by discussions, think, pair, share, drawing graphs or mind mappings, and of course, hand-on activities. It is very important for the teacher to clarify everything related to the students and what they have explored, or on the first stage, what they have gone through in the engage. Sort the objectives. Here we have 3 objectives related to the 3 phases that we were talking about. We have the demonstrate an interest and curiosity in the topic, interpret and explain visuals, diagrams, or models used to illustrate the content, collaborate in small groups to design and execute an experiment that builds upon their existing knowledge. So take just 1 minute, think of these objectives and try to sort them according to the 3 phases that we have just discussed together. Think of them. So demonstrate on interest and active on curiosity in the topic. So here, when I try to make the students be interested in the topic, so this phase is called what? It is called engage. When I collaborate in small groups, I jumped to the 3rd one. So interpret and explain visuals or models. So this is the explain. And collaborate in small groups, this is the explore phase. Here we have, of course, when I want to apply such phases, I'm gonna be into challenges and solutions. So I want you to determine a challenge that teachers may face while applying the 5E model, and suggest a solution for students who may struggle in applying some activities. So please try to think of a challenge, okay, and suggest a solution for this challenge. So take 1 minute, try to think of a challenge that a teacher may face. So some teachers may say time management. Some teachers say they want the easily find activities that can satisfy the 5 E's or the first 3 phases that we were discussing. So you're right. Sometimes you cannot satisfy the 4 learning styles, which is also you're right. But of course, for every challenge, there is a solution or suggestions. So if you're going to suffer from the time management, you can try, when you set your lesson plan according to the 5 E's, you have to take into consideration the time, how you're going to put time according to each activity. Be careful and be very specific according to your time. Okay, and according to your activities, of course, being creative is the most important part or the most important element to apply these 5 E's. And of course, teachers among the world and according to AI today are very creative. So you can read some from sites. You can just based on your experience, adapt some activities and so on. And according to satisfying the 4 learning styles, it is very easy to satisfy the 4 learning styles. Of course, sometimes an activity is not enough to satisfy the 4 learning styles. We can go on during the whole session. In the whole session, we can satisfy the 4 learning styles. So here I'm trying to do what now? I'm trying to make you or to think of new things about the 5 E's and in a different way. So I can do this with my students, by the way, okay, while explaining a content. And this phase is called elaborate. So here, elaborate is to apply and create. So apply means opportunities are created for students to apply ideas in unique situations, special situations, different, new ones, in order to build deeper comprehension. So what I've done here with you, I've tried to ask you to set on the challenges and the solutions, right? So this is something I tried to make it for you in order to think of new things related to the content. Create, this is where our creativity and innovation come into play, as we encourage the individuals to think outside the box and come up with new ideas based on what they have learned. So this is also a way to make the students really apply the content or whatever you're giving in a new way, in a different way, and go deeper in their knowledge. So here I also provided some activities related to elaborate phase. We have the role play. You can ask students to make role play. Story starters, I can ask students to provide with a new story starters. Mind mapping, which is very important. I can use Kaggle, which is a very nice site that I can just turn it on my LCD and just gather from the students' ideas and make them as a mind mapping in front of them. Interviews, I can ask students to have interviews together, hands-on activities, and debate. Evaluation. Evaluation, it's clear that here at the end of each session, we have to evaluate the students' content or what they have learned. It's not necessary to do a test or a quiz in order to know if the student really achieved the objective or not. In my way, in different ways, in activities, games, we can check their understanding and consider it as evaluation to them. So of course, evaluation is assessing learning outcomes, identifying learning gaps, demonstrating learning growth. So when I want to evaluate, of course, I'm assessing what? I'm assessing what I have done with this session with this student. Identifying learning gaps, I'll check if the student have a gap on this objective or in this content, so I can, again, go back to it, vary the activity to the student and make this gap be more clear to him. Demonstrating learning growth. Of course, when I check understanding to my students, this is a way to demonstrate learning growth. We have different strategies also to assess. As I said, we can assess through formative tests. Formative tests are tests that are done on daily objective, of course. Summative is an assessment strategy that you can do after you have the student have achieved several objectives. Projects, I can ask students to make projects and present. Observations, while I'm in class doing activities with my students, enhancing active learning, I can observe my student, and in this way I can assess by engaging him, by asking questions to him, by checking the way he's interacting with me. Mind map, I can also, through mind mapping, assess or check their understanding. And self-assessment. Self-assessment is a way to give the student a rubric, checklist, after, for example, doing something, a worksheet, or whatever the teacher provides them. They can check their answers, or they can check their writings through rubric or checklist. This is called self-assessment. Benefits for students. Of course, applying the 5 E's have different benefits for students. First of all, it increases their engagement and motivation, performs better on tests and assessments, explore and inquire in real-world situations. What about the teachers? Of course, it has also different benefits for the teachers. It increases creativity. The teachers start to be more creative in just thinking of activities or trying to satisfy the 4 learning styles of her students. Adapt teaching, which is very important, that the teacher has to take into consideration differentiation in the class. And of course, allow differentiation. So here we have to take into consideration some tips for effective implementation of the 5 E's. First of all, we have to grab the student's attention, which is the most important part. create new activities. Repeating activities every time, it will be boring for the students. They will not be interactive again with you. They will not share. They will just feel that the session is going on in a boring way. So we have to be creative in always creating new activities. Identify the topic. The students have to know what topic are they going to explore, or you have to engage them, or what topic you're going to explain, elaborate, and evaluate. Of course, integrating technology nowadays is very important with the 5 E's or any other strategy, not only the 5 E's. So here we have in Engage. I just gave you here one example. Of course, we have more and different examples. We have an Engage, we can start with a video, for example, ask students to write something or identify the main idea, identify anything related to the video. Of course, for watching each video, there should be a purpose. You have to set a purpose for each student after watching this video. Explore, as I said, through sites or online research. You can ask them to, as I did now, also we can, videos also it can happen in Explore phase. Explain, flipped classroom, which is also a very nice strategy that you can use. Flipped classroom online, you can, for example, give the student the content to do it, to read it at home or do anything. And the next day they're going to come to answer questions that the teacher asked or jot them down. Elaborate digital storytelling, which is very nice. We can ask students to make digital storytelling. You can ask them to write endings, different endings, and evaluate. We can write online quizzes or tests, or as I said, projects, informations, and so on. So as a conclusion, 5 E's learning enhances deeper understanding, creativity, and flexibility, which is really important. So thank you all for attending this workshop. I hope really that you have really get some benefits to your classroom. I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you all for attending this session. Thank you, Ms. Maha, as well, for giving me the chance to be on IIU today with my training session.
Thanks, Ms. Layal. We would like to, on the behalf of International Students Development Council and IIU, we would like to thank you for this amazing presentation. And sure, we are waiting something new. Hopefully next month you are going to join us with another amazing training session too.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Layal.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Okay. Let me just end this session.